Oh, what's up?
After a 3-day hiatus on the Central Coast, the San Luis Obispo Blues are back in action at Sinsheimer Stadium. Not quite conference play yet, but we're almost there. The Santa Maria Indians are neighbors just down the road in Santa Maria, coming up to Sinsheimer to play against your San Luis Obispo Blues. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the broadcast booth for the Ancient Owl pregame show on the SLO Blues streaming network. Nate Mills joined alongside Ryan Giacomini, getting the table set for today's action against the Santa Maria Indians. Well, Ryan, I think we can both agree this is not just a must-win game, a must-dominate game for the Blues.
Yeah, I think offensively, Blues got off to a little bit of a shaky start last week, just not putting a lot of barrels on ball. But a good chance today against an Indian team to really get those bats going. With league play starting this week against the Sonoma Stompers on the road on Tuesday, you want to make sure that you're rolling offensively by that time.
And that's going to be a good test for San Luis Obispo. Very curious to see how they play the Stompers in their first conference game. And we talked about it with Rene Regalado during batting practice today, trying to get behind the baseball. There was a lot of things that he was talking about in terms of approach. He likes the approach so far in terms of being really patient up at the plate. I think the only thing that he wants to see click now is the hitting coach for the SLO Blues. He wants to see guys hammer pitches they can hit, and we definitely know just from our vantage point here that there was a lot of missed opportunities in that first weekend for the Blues.
Yeah, he was saying that you just got to go up there ready to be aggressive but not swing at pitches outside the zone. Wait for a pitch in your wheelhouse and then rip it, hit it hard, hit it on the barrel, and if you don't, leg it out. You still gotta try hard to get over to first base and help a team out. Only 8 hits being the most that you have in a 4-game stretch, and where you win 3 games is just not a very sustainable way to play. So they just got to hit the ball hard and produce some runs.
And it's an ever-changing offense, right? It's summer ball. It's the first few weeks. You're not going to get the same guys you end with as the same you start with. So it's starting to shape into a little bit more. We'll get into the new faces that have come into the roster as well today. Some new guys over at batting practice. But for now, let's talk about yesterday, or the last game against the West Coast Kings. The Blues came out and dominated West Coast in 12-4 fashion after falling to the Kings the night before. It's a real nice bounce back for San Luis Obispo. I like what I saw in that game.
Yeah, I really go back to the pitching. Ty Bernal started that game, gave up 3 runs, but they never hit the ball hard. There were no hits that he gave up over 70 miles per hour. And then after that, Reynoso, Paxton, Howell, O'Hara, and Gallimore all threw the ball really well as well. So I think the pitching is rolling. I saw good pitching throughout the entire weekend, outside of a few innings here and there. So that's something they just need to keep going this weekend. A big spot for Viale today, who had a rough outing to start the season on opening day, but he gets an opportunity against the Santa Maria Indians team that's a little less a competition than the Dodgers were.
Yeah, before we go into Chase Viale, again, you look at that West Coast Kings game where they took that 12-4 victory, and the plate discipline is really there for San Luis Obispo. It's not something you see a lot in summer ball because guys are trying to barrel up the baseball or get a hit as much as possible. But the Blues take their walks. They'll take them with the best of them, and with a team like Santa Maria, you might see a lot of base on balls today. The only thing that Rene Regalado is hoping for with the Blues is that they capitalize on those fastballs in the zone. They had trouble doing that against the West Coast Kings, hence that loss. So more on Chase Viale. Great opportunity for him to come back and get a quality start today with the San Luis Obispo Blues. 3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 5 walks and 2 strikeouts. And Ryan and I talked about it before his first outing. The stuff is there. Lively fastball, lively slider. The only issue is just locating it, and he had those same issues at Cuesta. This is why we're here in the summer practicing it.
Yeah, he threw really, really well when he could throw strikes. That was the biggest thing. And I pointed out before the game started, high strikeout numbers, but high walk numbers, which to me just means good stuff. Doesn't do a great job locating it. We saw that. He threw 72 pitches, and 35 of them were strikes, 37 were balls. So if he can just locate, if he can get that number up to 40, 42, 45 strikes, and then lower that ball number to around like 30, he'll be in business there and be able to strike out more batters. The 5 walks he had killed him. That really is what propelled the Dodgers to scoring their 2 runs.
And when you're playing a team like the Santa Maria Indians today, an inferior opponent, let's be honest here, a team loaded with high schoolers still. The Blues just dumped all their high schoolers on that Memorial Day Monday. That was the last time you'll be seeing any high school players for San Luis Obispo. It's a good opportunity to live in the zone and let the defense work, right? Because they're not going to beat you too hard. They're not going to bang it off against the wall. They could. There's a good chance they could. But if you're going to take some chances, work on throwing strikes. It's a team that's not going to damage you too hard. And I think it's a good opportunity for Chase Viale to kind of work almost like live at bats.
Yeah, he just needs to find the zone today. I think you said it perfectly. Just let the defense work behind him. Find the zone, throw strikes. It's a good day for him to work on that because this Indians team is not going to put the ball in play and hit the ball that hard. So it's a good day to just work on making sure that he's locating with his pitches and not necessarily worrying as much maybe about the movement and then trying to combine the two in a later appearance.
So Chase Viale is a name to keep in that memory bank for the season because he's going to stick around. There's some new names that did come into San Luis Obispo yesterday, and we saw some of them playing around in the pregame grounders and taking some batting practice too. Some familiar names too. Gavin Constantine makes his return to San Luis Obispo, as well as fan favorite Zach Tallerman making his Blues appearance for the 3rd time. For the 3rd year in a row. So exciting to see those faces out there. Like we said, the high schoolers are all gone. Matter of fact, you'll see 2 of them on the opposing lineup today for the Santa Maria Indians. But good to see Gavin back. Good to see Zach Tallerman back. And a couple new guys are trickling in as well. We also have breaking news with Parker Goff. Will no longer be coming to San Luis Obispo this summer. He was a great backstop for the Blues last year. And it would help them in that playoff run. It was a great backstop again at BYU for the 2nd season in a row. Staying in Provo due to draft reasons reasons. He wants to just do workouts there and avoid any injuries. But that's kind of the report on the new faces we got with Constantine and Tallerman.
Yeah, Constantine, we knew was coming back. He was on the initial roster, but Tallerman just recently signed, and he was a good first baseman last year. He hasn't hit the ball hard, but he hit over 300 for most of the season last year. He's just able to find outfield grass, and he for a first baseman, for a tall, lanky first baseman too, he got some speed, so he could get down the line if he doesn't hit the ball hard and try to beat out some infield singles.
Well, thank you for tuning in to the Ancient Owl pregame show on the SLO Blue Streaming Network. And 8 Mills, Ryan Giacomini. We got you on the play-by-play right after this on the SLO Blue Streaming Network. That's where I garnered my college stuff.
Wearing number 50, playing center field, it's E.J. Royal.
Did you just not play a lot your senior year?
COVID.
Almost like
my sophomore year sucked.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I was a head case.
Number 2, the first baseman, Brendan Coverford. Batting fourth, number 10, the third baseman, Gavin Smith. Batting in the fifth spot, the right fielder, wearing number 18, is Donovan Jordan. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, wearing number 23, Mason Shea. He's followed up by number 14, the left fielder, Brady Alves. Batting eighth, number 15, the second baseman, Sean Strickmutter. And batting ninth, the catcher, wearing number 28, Cam Andrews. Starting pitcher today for the Blues, the left-hander from Cuesta College and Atascadero, number 38, Chase Viale. The Blues are led by Dean Trader. He is assisted by Brian Trader, Rene Regalado, Paul Teixeira, Randy Kozar, Trites Garcia, and Brayden Syker. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have the Central Coast Harmony Chorus with us to sing our national anthem. They will also be singing the seventh inning stretch. If you would please kindly stand and remove your hats in respect for the anthem. Here is the Central Coast Harmony Chorus.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what's
stop and say hi. I'll be back to sing the 7th inning stretch as well. Let's take a look at the defensive lineup for the Blues. In left field, it's Brady Alves. Center field is E.J. Royal.
The Blues take the field for game 1 of a 3-game homestand on the Central Coast. Coming in this game with a 3-1 record after dropping a game to the Kings on Sunday. They bounce back Monday to round out the weekend and will face the Santa Maria Indians today. Let's take a look at the lineup for the Indians as announced by head coach Jimmy Molina. Batting first, it's going to be the third baseman, Jerem Damry. Batting second, it's a former Blue, Josue Garcia. Batting third, it's the first baseman, Cesar Garcia. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, also a former Blue, Chris Johnson. Batting fifth and playing second, it is Abel Mata. Batting sixth and playing left, it's Johnny DeBrum. Batting seventh, Yuli Call. Eighth, Hayden Hall. And rounding out the order for the Indians, it's Tommy Zepeda. Defensively for the SLO Blues, in the outfield from left to right, it'll be Brady Alves, E.J. Royal, and Don Jordan. On the infield from third to first, it'll be Gavin Smith, Kate O'Hara, Sean Strittmatter, and Brendan Comerford, with Cam Andrews in the squat. Catching the starter today, the lefty, Chase Viale.
Yeah, Ryan and I talked about it in the pregame show. This is a big start for Chase Viale, looking for an answer in terms of that command. It was a big issue last outing with those 5 walks and 2 strikeouts, but the stuff is there from the southpaw from Cuesta College.
3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, but only an opponent batting average of 133 as the first pitch comes at 6:01 p.m. with the game time temperature of 76 degrees and sunny here on the Central Coast. First pitch was a ball upstairs. And then that one is fouled back.
Best day of weather we've had so far, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a nice day. It was honestly a little warm when we got here. You said you like it. You're wearing pants. I'm in shorts.
Yep. It's going to get chilly.
Yeah, it is definitely going to get chilly. As that one misses way. And I forgot my Q-zip.
I might use it.
Yeah.
You can have it.
Maybe. I appreciate the offer. Not yet. I'm like sweating.
You don't want my cooties?
No, yeah, exactly. There's the 2-1, swung on and flared foul.
And look at Jerem Damry here attacking his fellow teammate. They both go to Cuesta College. Chase Viale and Damry both do. Sure, they've gotten a lot of action against each other in fall ball and whatnot. He knows what's coming for the most part. He knows how this guy works, and he's showing it here the way he's fighting off pitches.
Here's the 2-2. Up and away, count runs full.
Yeah, and this is the issue with Chase Viale, just missing a little bit on that off-speed pitch up in the zone. And Damry didn't offer at it, too, on the 2-2 count.
Swung on a miss, strike 3. Viale strikes out Damry on the low fastball.
Yeah, 86 miles an hour hitting the bottom half of the zone, and it looked like it had some sink to it as well. Jake Hickson, or check that, Jerem Damry had some issues catching up with that one. He went fishing.
Viale, 5-pitch mix, a 4-seam, 2-seam, changeup, slider, and curveball. Working all the way on the right side of the rubber for him. A curveball at 68 miles an hour drops right into Josue Garcia, who, if you're a Blues fan, might recognize that name for last season, where Josue played here with the Blues for a couple of weeks. As that one misses low.
Kid's a stud.
He had a great season over at Allen Hancock. 4.11 batting average and a 5.28 slugging.
Gets on base half the time, Ryan.
That's impressive. 29 strikeouts to his 20 walks as he shatters his bat. A ground ball to Strittmatter, the throw over to Comerford for the second out of the inning.
86 off the hands, and I don't think I've seen a barrel shoot that far out and do the infield before. Either way, did not die a hero, breaks his bat, and that's one of the more satisfying feelings you get as a pitcher. To go around talking with pitchers, and they just love breaking guys' bats. And so you got to feel that Chase Viale feels good about that, playing against his community college foe. Viale, a Cuesta Cougar, and of course Garcia, a Bulldog from Mount Hancock.
2 quick outs brings up Cesar Garcia. He looks at a first pitch ball down. Fastball on the outside part is called a strike. Blues have 3 home games this weekend, as mentioned. 1 against the Indians today, and then the California Expos come into town for the Saturday and Sunday games. As big swing and a miss by Cesar Garcia as he falls behind 1-2. The Blues played 8 games against the Indians last season, just 2 in this season as that one is hit on the ground. O'Hara fields it on the run to Comerford for the 3rd out of the inning. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Chase Viale. Gets the bats up. It'll be the top of the order, and E.J. Royal due up here on the SLO Blues Streaming Network. Bottom of the first, the Blues sent the Indians down in order. Chase Viale, a 1-2-3 inning as we introduce you to the lineup for the San Luis Obispo Blues. Leading off, playing center field, who else but E.J. Royal? 2-hitter is the shortstop, Cade O'Hara, made a nice play on the run to end the top half of the first. Then it's the first baseman, Brendan Comerford, followed by the third baseman, Gavin Smith. Then right fielder Don Jordan, the designated hitter Mason Shea, Brady Alves, Sean Stripmatter, and Cam Andrews rounding it up for the Mustangs. Here's E.J. Royal to face the starting pitcher, Bo Sweeney. First pitch to him is a called strike.
78 miles an hour, starting him off with the off speed, and I'm going to imagine that EJ is going to get a lot of those, especially the way he damages pitches in the leadoff spot.
Especially lefties, as that one is hit the other way and flaring away from the right fielder. Zapata on the dive. He caught it. What a play to start the day by Zapata. Diving to his glove side and robbing E.J. Royal of what was for sure a double, maybe more.
You don't see that often off the bat of E.J. Royal. When he hits those flares down the right field line, the right fielder doesn't have a great time tracking it and coming up with it. That had extra bases written all over it for me. Ryan and I have seen it too many times. E.J. just kind of spins one down the line, but wow, what a jump from Zapata and what a grab.
Here's Cade O'Hara. He takes ball 1. Quickly, let's introduce you to the defense. And left, it's DeBrum. Center, Call. Right, Zapata. On the infield from third to first, it's Damry, Hall, Mata, and Cesar Garcia. And behind the plate is Josue Garcia. Fastball down the heart of the plate at 79 miles an hour is a called strike. 2-1. As O'Hara watches that one up and away. O'Hara, 2 years at Texas, currently sitting in the portal looking for a new place to call home. Fastball misses away. Sounds like he's here this summer kind of to do both hitting and pitching. He's already thrown a little bit, already hit a little bit. Believes that he might throw today. Talking to him in pregame as he draws ball 4. Like I mentioned, just looking for a new home, and he's open to hitting or pitching at the Division I level. Doesn't matter.
He sure is. He's working on both right now, and we've talked about how electric his arm is over at shortstop, and you get an arm like that out on the mound, there's a lot of arm side run to it. He'll be a 3/4 guy for you as a pitcher. He can do it all.
Starter for the Indians, Bo Sweeney. Mission Prep for 2 years, Royal Grande High School for 1, as that is a called strike. Graduating this year out of high school. The lefty didn't get much playing time this year, there are no stats available for him this year, but in his time at at Mission Prep, he threw 36 innings with 14 earned runs, 11 walks to his 21 strikeouts. Also plays golf and soccer over at Mission Prep, or at Arroyo Grande, excuse me. As Comerford steps in and fouls that one back. Falls behind an 0-2 count. Comerford was named by Nate and I as the SLO Blues Player of the Week last week.
Yep. On-base machine and the best hitter.
Yeah, 8 RBIs opening weekend will get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 4 stolen bases, some knocks, 4 walks. As that one is smoked to left field. Going back on it is DeBrum. He's going to take a step onto the warning track, come in and make the grab as Comerford just missed that one just barely. How
many times have we seen him hit a ball like that in batting practice? I'm sure he's going to get chirped in the dugout for the warning track power, and he's got a big smile on his face. I'm sure he's getting an earful right now. Just off the end of the bat, DeBrum was able to circle it right at the fence. Like I say, Ryan, a game of millimeters baseball is.
Almost put the Blues up 2. Quick move over to first has O'Hara scampering back. Gavin Smith steps in. As O'Hara tries for second and is going to be thrown out to end the inning. So O'Hara walks, but is later thrown out, and no score after 1 on the SLO Blues streaming network.
party. They will have
Former Blue Chris Johnson will lead it off, followed by Abel Mata and Johnny DeBrum for the Indians. Nothing.
fellow Blues fans. Here's number 46, the DH Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson digs in. First pitch to him is high. Johnson, a 6'3" first baseman from Cuesta, acting as the designated hitter tonight. Batting from the right side, had a good senior year. Did not play in high school and did not play his first season at Cuesta, as he is ahead 2-0.
You got a fellow Cougar on the mound. Viale from Cuesta, Chris Johnson as well. Again, another good opportunity here to do some damage if you're the hitter, Chris Johnson. You know your southpaw well. You guys share a locker room together, and you shared a dugout together literally a couple days ago.
3-0. Get me over fastball, catches the inside.
And Viale working quickly here, just getting right back on the rubber. Want to get to work against Chris Johnson.
Swung on, chopped back up the middle. Strip Matter charges it, fields it, and throws it to first in plenty of time to get Chris Johnson for the first out of the inning.
That was a good adjustment, too, by the second baseman, Strip Matter, for the Blues. He kind of had to half-step that one to get the timing correct. Otherwise, he would have had awkward footing and probably wouldn't have been able to make the play. So a nice mid-stride adjustment by the Cuesta second baseman, Strip Matter, to make the play.
Then steps Abel Mata.
Just a Cuesta College reunion here at Sinsheimer.
First pitch slider misses away. That's what you get a lot, especially with the Indians, who are, mainly a bunch of high school guys and then also a couple of community college guys just from the local area. So you're going to see a lot of Allen Hancock, a lot of Cuesta, as that one is a called strike at the knees. But Abel Mata, not one of those. Plays at Redwoods as he swings and misses out in front of the off-speed pitch. Only had 30 at-bats this last season. 4 hits in those at-bats. From Santa Maria as the 1-2 misses inside, even it up at 2-2.
You get that a lot too, right? A lot of guys from Santa Maria just down the road playing for the Santa Maria Indians. Torey Lavello was a Santa Maria Indian. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. I believe we talked about it last year on the broadcast as the count runs full.
Torey Lavello, of course, the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, had a playing career as well. Was used to be an Indian.
Lots of history with the Indians and between the Indians and the Blues as Viale pumps in a fastball for strike 3. Abel Mata goes down swinging.
85 miles an hour. He climbed the ladder against Mata, one of the 3 left-handed hitters in tonight's lineup for the Indians. Got him chasing. Yeah, it's not just Torey Lavello. I totally buried the lead on who the biggest alum is. Ozzie Smith played summer ball for the Santa Maria Indians. Once upon a time, they were bigger than the Blues.
Big swing and a miss there by DeBrum. Ozzie Smith, one of, if not the most well-known Cal Poly athletes of all time. Local for his summer ball, as that one misses low.
John Madden went to Cal Poly too. Mm-hmm. Would you say more people know John Madden or Ozzie Smith?
Probably John Madden.
Yeah.
But Madden, Ozzie Smith was, he's one of the, he got to be like a top 5 shortstop, top 10 shortstop all time.
The Wizard.
I guess John Madden's heavily considered a top 5 football coach all time too.
Well, so. He was a coach, a player, a broadcaster, the video game. They're making the movie about him. Nicolas Cage is starring as John Madden.
2-1 misses low and away. 3-1. And speaking of Cal Poly baseball, regional start today for the NCAA national tournament, and Cal Poly played Arizona, the University of Arizona, not Nate's current school, as that one is fouled back. Count runs full, and Poly not able to get it done. They only allowed 2 hits, but 3-2 loss means that they'll take on the loser of Utah Valley and Oregon game, which happens later today. So here's the full count. Swung on, hit hard on a line, and past the glove by O'Hara for a base hit. First knock of the game for either team comes off the bat of Johnny DeBrum.
Yeah, there goes the no-hitter from Chase Viale. 86 miles an hour off the barrel of Johnny DeBrum, nestling that one into left center field. That was a really tough pitch, too. DeBrum really got his hands close to his body, went down and get it on the fastball low and in. A real nice swing for the left fielder to keep the second inning alive for the Indians.
And steps Yuli Call, close stance from that right side. Big leg kick and a good block by Cam Andrews on the fastball in the dirt. Yuli Call, Tascadero High School graduate, going to be attending Cal Poly SLO in the fall, but just as a student, not playing baseball. His first team All-Sunset League this last year with his .378 batting average. Viale, the move over to first.
Most likely trying to walk on with the Stangs, I'd imagine. Tried to do that number a couple years ago. Didn't work out.
Half swing, the appeal, and he went. Count evens up at 1-1. What's that process like being a walk-on?
Well, you know, you got to talk with the coach, you got to talk with assistant guys, and you're communicating via emails, and you're sending video, you're talking on social media, and then they have these prospect camps.
That one's chopped to third and going to be foul.
They have these prospect camps that go on, and it really helps to talk to the coach before you go to these camps. If you kind of just go and you pay the fee and you go to these camps, it's really hard to get noticed by the head coach because they already have guys sort of in mind. So it's extra important to, get your name out there with the coaching staff for all you youth baseball players out there. It's a grind, though. Selling yourself is not easy, at least for me.
Curveball misses up. Yeah, I remember early in my high school days, I was more of a basketball guy, but I did attempt to get recruited, and I was recruited by a couple of smaller schools for basketball. And I remember it was a grind, and then I decided to not pursue basketball in college. That one is swung on and chopped up the middle. Kate O'Hara fumbles it, and that'll be an error on Kate O'Hara. But 2 on with 2 out.
Yeah, that's another issue with this SLO Blues team. The errors. This first opening weekend for San Luis Obispo was riddled with them, including 6 in a game. And Kate O'Hara is the last guy, I would think, to bobble a baseball. I think his head just went a little too fast. He wanted to make an easy flip to second, and I think just overthought it. And then once you miss it once, then you miss it twice, then it's just a snowball effect of just missing the baseball.
In steps Hayden Hall, who played with the SLO Blues just 4 days ago on Monday as Viale comes home and throws it in the dirt. He, in that game on Monday, went 1 for 3. He had a base hit in the third and then was later replaced by Ruben Servin. Now finds himself on the Indians after Nate mentioned on the pregame show. The Blues have parted ways with all of the high school seniors. Hall, 2-seamer, called strike. Even up the count at 1-1.
Yeah, and why not? Down the street, play for Santa Maria, super close to home. Time is up with the Blues. There's another team right here.
Exactly. Curveball in the dirt, misses.
Unfortunate break for Viale there because Hayden Hall was not expecting that curveball. Did you see how he buckled up in the batter's box? If that was in there for a strike, it's a whole different ball game now, but 2-1 instead.
Swung on and chopped to O'Hara. O'Hara flips it to Stripmatter at second base to end the inning. A hit and an error, but they are both stranded as the Blues come back up in a 0-0 ball game.
For 967.
Gavin Smith comes back up. He was up at the plate when Cade O'Hara was caught stealing to end the first inning, so he will get a do-over to start, and he'll be followed by Don Jordan and Mason Shea as first pitch is way outside for ball one.
Gavin Smith was squaring up some balls in batting practice today. I'm excited to see what he can do today against the Indians.
Out in front of that off-speed pitch.
That's exactly what Coach Regalado was talking about in the pregame, trying to get behind the baseball. Gavin Smith was way out in front there. He saw it all the way in, just got a little too froggy and very early on the swing.
That one is chopped to third, but foul. Smith, a Harvard Crimson, and we were talking to him before the game, and he's a long lineage over at Harvard that he didn't even really know about until after he applied to go there. But a lineage that dates all the way back to the mid-1600s, as that one misses outside.
Before the U.S. was even a country. 1649.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And he was saying that he didn't know until he was applying, and then he, on the application it says, "Do you have any relatives who attended Harvard?" As the 2-2 is swung on and hit back up the middle for a base hit. Gavin Smith gets the Blues' first hit of the game, and it's a leadoff single in the second inning. 86 miles an hour off the bat.
Yeah, smoked off the bat of Gavin Smith. He sent it right back where it came from. A nice piece of hitting from the right-hander from Arizona. Born and raised in the Valley of the Sun, and a leadoff base runner for the Blues. That's what you want. He's a good athlete out there on the base paths. He can make some stuff happen, and we've talked about the power of Don Jordan. We're waiting for it to come through at some point in the summer. And he's got a new bat, Ryan. He usually swings that torpedo bat, but right now he's swinging a pink bomb bat, which is something he's not normally comfortable with. I thought he was just swinging it during batting practice. We saw the torpedo bat in the dugout, but Jordan has opted to go ahead and stick with that pink bomb bat.
Yeah, it made it sound like maybe something happened to his bomb bat. He didn't quite tell us, but he said that he got a new one coming in tomorrow as that one misses away. 2-0.
He likes some custom. He likes the custom torpedo bat.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I stopped playing baseball at a pretty young age, so it's interesting to hear these guys talk about how particular they are with their bat, considering, I was never really that way just because I didn't play that long, as Jordan chops that one through the 5-5 hole for another hit. That one not hit as hard as Gavin Smith's, but it gets the job done nonetheless. And the Blues are in business with 2 on and nobody out.
Hey, back-to-back base hits for San Luis Obispo. You got to love that one. Like you said, not squared up off the bat like Gavin Smith's single, but it still gets the job done, and it's a good sound off the barrel. I'd say a big reason Don Jordan doesn't like swinging the bomb bat is it just doesn't sound the same. It doesn't feel as good, which I get. I mean, it's a bat, a foam bat with a metal rod in it and then a thin layer of wood around. So, I mean, he's right. It's not really the same material.
Gavin Smith dancing around at second base as the first pitch to Mason Shea is a called strike. Acting as a designated hitter tonight and getting an opportunity here with Gavin Smith on second and Don Jordan on first to drive in some runs for the Blues. Here's the 0-1, swung on and flared foul off to the right.
A heavy dose of changeups here for the right-handers. Bo Sweeney, left-handed pitcher, the only lefty in today's lineup for the Santa Maria Indians, and he's going up against the first all-right-handed lineup this season for the Blues.
Shea, one of the 2 weak guys, so this will be his last weekend with the Blues. Looking to have some quality at-bats as he chops this one to the left. It's going to be an out, but it'll move the runners up to second and third. A productive out. As Mason Shea goes back to the dugout.
Yeah, as you said, Ryan, a productive out that time, but I know he's running back into that dugout cussing at himself. It was a pitch he knows he can hammer, and we've seen 2 back-to-back pieces of soft contact. Hitting approach that Rene Regalado was talking about, hitting behind the baseball and letting it come to you, needs to really come into play here. They saw slow pitching with the Dodgers last weekend. It's even slower here with the Indians. They really got to make some adjustments if they want to bang it around the yard and cash in these 2 runs.
First pitch to the 7 hole. Brady Alves misses outside. 2 in scoring position for Alves. three-sport athlete in high school, now attending Butte Community College. Consider him a four-sport athlete. Dairy farming, that's a sport.
That's a sport. I'll count it.
I mean, why not, right?
It's a workout.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue, like I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, big basketball guy. That was one of the three sports he played in high school. I would argue dairy farming is harder than basketball.
Really?
I mean, it's dairy farming. You got to get down and dirty.
All things considered?
All things considered. Swing and a miss underneath that one. I mean, maybe basketball is a little more mentally challenging, but physically.
Right.
You know, especially at the high school level where it's not super physical yet. Yeah.
You can kind of zone out dairy farming, I feel like.
Yeah, you can't zone out basketball.
No.
A righty gets warm in the Indians' bullpen. Unsure of who it is, as swinging and missing over the changeup as Brady Alves back-to-back hits and then back-to-back outs for the Blues, as it'll be Sean Stripmatter to try to clean it up and get a scratch a run across for the Blues in the bottom of the second.
Yeah, Sweeney just pulled the string that time on Brady Alves, and he wasn't on time at any point in that at-bat. And I think Sweeney recognized that and brought him with the combio to strike him down.
First pitch misses outside.
And Stripmatter from the coveted Desert Mountain High School in Arizona, in the Scottsdale area. A lot of great programs out there in the Valley.
He swings on that one and hits it to right, and going to his left is Zapata to make the third out. The Blues back-to-back singles to lead off the inning and then strand both runners. And to the top of the third we go. Blues and Indians tied up at 0.
We'll see you.
9-1-2 for the Indians as Tommy Zapata will lead it off.
Number 8, the right fielder.
The outfielder from Santa Maria. Playing at Pioneer Valley this last year, down in Santa Maria. Finishing up his senior year of high school. As he faces Chase Viale. First pitch to him is a called strike at 83 miles an hour. Zapata, 266 batting average in his 79 at-bats with 10 RBIs. As looks like he got hit on the foot on a curveball.
Not the way you want to start the inning if you're Chase Viale, just letting a curveball get away from you in terms of your grip. And starting off a frame with a hit by pitch is not always a good omen, especially when you are 0 for 2 on capitalizing, scoring, and runs for San Luis Obispo.
Good sell job by Zapata to really just stand there, put the bat down, point at his foot, be like, yeah, I got hit, Blue.
You got to do that sometimes, even if you don't get hit. I was never good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, a lot of players aren't, but I feel like a lot of players also enjoy hitting.
Yes.
They don't really, especially summer ball, you're here to get better. So, getting hit by pitch, you get better at your base running, I presume, but you'd rather swing the stick. That one in the dirt. Good block by Cam Andrews to keep it in front. Count evens up at 1-1. Damry struck out to lead off the game for the Indians. 6 foot, 162-pound sophomore over at Cuesta. Cougar, 34 at-bats this last season with 7 hits. 8 strikeouts to his 4 walks at the plate as that one misses up.
Here's another 3-sport athlete, Jerem Damry, just like Brady Alves. Hooped, played football and baseball.
The big 3 out of Atascadero High School, as that one is a called strike to even up the count at 2-2. That one is swung on and chopped to the right. Strittmatter is going to try to go to second for 1, but he throws it away. Ball gets into left field. There might be a play at third, but sliding in safely is Zapata, an E4. Back-to-back innings with an error for the Blues. Last time it didn't hurt them. Let's see if it does this time.
Yeah, again, you just can't have those errors in that situation. If I'm the second baseman in Strittmatter, I'm going over to first. All my momentum is going that way. I understand trying to get the double play, go to second, then go to first. But, you're right next to the bag over at first base, and all your momentum was going towards that way.
I agree in that situation, especially in a 0-0 ball game. You're okay putting a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Even if they get that run across, you can get it right back. Reminder that summer's here, and the boys are back in town. Come celebrate the Blues' 79th season with fireworks after the game against the Menlo Park Legends next Friday, June 6th. Buy your tickets now at bluesbaseball.com. One of 3 firework nights this summer. June 6th, July 3rd for our annual firework night for the 4th of July.
That's the biggie right there.
Yeah, and then July 26th, our last home game of the summer.
Only get 3 chances.
Come to the ballpark. Tickets are cheap. You come see a fireworks show and a game. That one is hit up the middle. Might be a 2-ball. O'Hara to Strittmatter. Strittmatter to first. Did Comerford keep his foot down? Yes, he did. A double play as a run comes across. The Indians take a 1-0 lead, but the bases are cleared.
You see that hit by pitch to start off the frame coming back to haunt Vialli. You get the double play in order, and you get the 2 outs, but at what cost? Indians lead 1-0.
Hit by pitch, an error, and then a RBI ground ball double play. That's how the Indians scratch their first run across, as a big sweeping curveball to Cesar Garcia is a called strike. Garcia grounded out to end the first inning. That was to O'Hara. Called strike 2. Very quickly, it's 0-2 to the first baseman, who slugged .500 over at Allen Hancock this last season. Struggles with striking out at the plate, had 22 strikeouts in his 92 at-bats, as that one is hit hard and on the ground. Comerford's able to scoop it up. His foot race to first, and Comerford is going to win it to end the inning. The Indians get a run on a RBI ground ball double play and take the lead to end the inning. Coming up for the Blues, it'll be 9-1-2 as they look to grab that run right back here on the SLO Blues streaming network. San Francisco State backstop looking for a new home, and Cam Andrews will lead off the inning. As I remind you that this half inning is brought to you by Ancient Owl Beer Garden and Bottle Shop, your go-to spot for every Blues road game. Located just around the corner from Shinsheimer, Ancient Owl is the official home of the Blues watch party all season long. Ancient Owl, choose your beer wisely. First pitch is a 66-mile-an-hour off-speed to Andrews for ball 1.
And Andrews, you're talking about a new place to call home, and not a very orthodox story for him, how that came to be. He had a starting spot well cemented at San Francisco State, and all that changed with the send of an email, their program going under. Budget cuts happening around a lot of programs in the NCAA, and the San Francisco State Gators fell victim to it. So now he's in the portal after a couple of pretty good seasons with the Gators. Hit 289 last year. It started in 10 games. He went 11 of 38. A home run and a double. Now it's to get right back into that recruiting mindset.
3-0 fastball is a called strike right around the knees. He caught on opening day in his 3 at-bats, or in his 4 plate appearances, excuse me. He scored a run, drew a walk, had a hit. His hit was a single, as that one is nubbed off the end of the bat. Going to be a really tough play on the infield, but the throw over to first by Mata gets Andrews for the first out.
Yeah, this one's cued right off the end of the bat. I mean, he hit it on the end of the baseball bat, just spinning and spinning towards Mata. It's a tough play to make as a second baseman, trying not to overthink it and just make the simple play because there's so much funky action happening on the baseball. Did the right thing, took his time, gobbled it up, flip it over to first in time for the out.
Cam Andrews is a catcher who can get down the line quickly, so did not make that play easy for Mata at all. First pitch to E.J. Royal misses way outside for ball 1. EJ hit a ball well in the first inning. It was tailing away from Zapata over and right, but Zapata made a diving catch to rob EJ of an extra base hit, as this one is chopped high to third. Third baseman Damry will throw it over to Cesar Garcia at first for the second out of the inning. 2 quick outs for Bo Sweeney after his team got a run in the top half of the inning.
It seems like the Blues are having a nice time seeing Bo Sweeney, and how could you not with that catapult action as a pitcher? He's extending all the way behind his head when that knee comes up. It gives the hitters a long time to see the baseball, and they're seeing it, just missing it. They're not barreling it like they should.
Now it's O'Hara. Misses outside. O'Hara walked. Was caught stealing to end the inning in the first. One of only 3 base runners so far for the Blues, as they trail the Indians 1-0 in the bottom of the third. 1-0 misses outside. 2-0. O'Hara slightly open, waggles the bat from the right side, as strike 1 is called. The Blues in their all-white pinstripe uniforms today. O'Hara sporting the high socks. Blue lettering across the chest as he watches that one up and away at 82 miles an hour, with the blue numbers on the back.
Are you of the mindset, Ryan, that if one guy wears high pants, everyone else does on the team?
That one misses up, ball 4. You know, I think it's really a personal preference. I don't think it matters, and the Blues appear to be that way as Comerford comes up with, you know, the pants all the way down to the ankles. I think, you know, it's whatever you want. I was always a high sock guy when I played ball. But, you know, it's not everyone's forte, and, you know, if it's not your thing, you do what you want, I guess.
So if you're running a team, you would not enforce such a policy?
No. I just let them do whatever feels comfortable. It's like that play or look good, play good kind of thing for me. You know, because even if, you know, it would look good for everyone to match, but it might not be what everyone thinks they look good in.
I agree.
O'Hara now with 2 walks on the day was caught stealing last time as Comerford hits that one pretty high, but not super deep, and foul. Wow, that thing bounced off of something.
It was that the cargo storage unit in foul territory out of play. Looks like it hit the base of it and just shot right back to the left fielder, DeBrum.
DeBrum got a glove on it. Wasn't able to field it. Nonetheless, it's an 0-2 count. Sidestep from Sweeney. Fouled off. Good job to just stay alive there. I don't think we've seen the slide step yet from Sweeney, so caught Comerford maybe a little off guard, and that's why he was behind it. It's kind of what you got to do, though, when you don't have good velocity. You kind of just have to work around. This time he goes high, leg kick, big looping breaking ball, and Comerford fouls another one off.
Yeah, and Comerford's just missing these pitches, too. I mean, you can go back to his last at-bat when he flew out to left. I mean, DeBrum caught that one heels on the wall, and kind of the same case here. He's getting hanging breaking balls out of the zone. He's putting swings on him, which is good. It's not often you see a guy with pull side power comfortable with even swinging at those pitches out in the zone. He's doing it, but it's just getting underneath it, not getting rewarded like he'd hope.
Comerford flew out to the warning track in his last at-bat as this one fouled straight back and over our head in the press box.
Yeah, again, just can't quite get the timing on these pitches here. Just barely missing.
Guy that has more than morning track power, at least at Aloni, where he hit 15 home runs this past season with 62 RBIs in 43 games. That's about an RBI and a half per game. That's very impressive. That one is flared, possibly playable for Damry. He's not going to be able to get to it in foul territory. 5 straight foul balls for Brennan Comerford, as he is still behind 0-2.
He's putting together a nice at-bat here, but for him, a frustrating at-bat. You'd like to get something in fair territory.
Just a little underneath the ball. He's been late, been early, even timed one up, but was just underneath it and fouled it straight back. That one is hit on the ground to Hayden Hall. Long throw across the diamond, and Comerford is going to beat it out for an infield hit. A 2-out hit for the Blues. Moves O'Hara over to second for Gavin Smith, who, he's known for hitting the ball hard with 2 on and 2 out.
Yeah, Comerford not squaring this one exactly on the barrel. 88 miles an hour to the shortstop, Hall. But again, a long throw over to first, and nice hustle down the line for Brennan Comerford. It's the reason this inning's still going on.
So the last time Gavin Smith was in a Blues uniform and hit with 2 on and 2 out, he had a 3-run home run, as he takes strike 1 on an off-speed pitch on the outside part.
This was a laser in the left field corner. Not often you see home runs put there.
The 0-1 that swung on. It hit pretty well the other way. Zapata chasing. Zapata getting there and making the grab for the 3rd out. The Blues get a 2-out walk and a 2-out knock, but strand them both. They have 4 stranded base runners after 3 innings. It's 1-0 Santa Maria Indians. Nate Mills will take you the rest of the way here on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Chris Johnson leads it off for the Santa Maria Indians in the top half of the fourth inning. The Blues trail 1-0 over Santa Maria at Sinsheimer Stadium as the first pitch to Johnson is swung on miss for strike one. Chris, a former Blue himself, not just from last summer, but from this past week. He played with San Luis Obispo just a few days ago, but the Blues let go all of their high school players or just fresh out of high school players on Memorial Day. He's in an 0-2 count now against Chase Vialli, who's still in this game. They're both teammates, Vialli and Chris Johnson at Cuesta College. Johnson has yet to have a college at bat with the Cougars, as the 0-2 is taken on the outside corner, strike three. Vialli with the cement mixer sits down Chris Johnson for the first out of the fourth.
It's a good 1-2-3 pitch mix to get Chris Johnson. I don't think Johnson was looking for a off-speed pitch on the outside part of the plate, but that's what he got, buckled him up, and didn't even swing at it.
So with one gone, it's now Abel Mata from College of the Redwoods, a St. Joe's graduate from Santa Maria, and the curveball misses downstairs for a ball. Nice smother from Andrews to keep that one in front. Abel Mata, one of the three left-handed hitters in tonight's lineup for the Santa Maria Indians, and he struck out swinging in the second inning. He swings at this one and chops it to the shortstop O'Hara, who gets it on the run and flings it over to first base in time for the second out of the inning.
Quick 2 outs here in the fourth, keeping the pitch count down. That's what you like to see out of Viale. Good bounce back for him, considering the last time he pitched, he only threw 3 innings. He's now at 3 2/3, and in his 3 innings. Last time he gave up 2 earned runs. Tonight, none.
An important nugget here for Viale is that his last outing in 3 innings, he issued 5 walks. He has yet to issue 1 tonight. Here's a weak flare to shallow right. Strip Motter going back. He gets called off by Jordan for the two-handed squeeze and a very, very quick 1-2-3 in the fourth. Still 1-0, Santa Maria heading to the home half of the frame on the SLO Blues streaming network.
Hey, fans, I've got a couple of
Bottom of the fourth is brought to you by Educational Employees Credit Union, proudly serving the Central Coast. EECU is located in Paso Robles and can be found at myeecu.org. Experience smarter banking at Educational Employees Credit Union. 5-6-7 due up for San Luis Obispo as they trail 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians on this beautiful Friday night on the Central Coast. Here's the first pitch to Don Jordan, and it misses outside, ball 1. Jordan got a single last time he was up, part of a back-to-back hits to begin the second inning, but they were both stranded on after 3 quick outs following those back-to-back hits. Here's the 1-0, and Jordan watches that one in there for a strike. As we said before, Jordan working with a new piece of lumber today, a vibrant pink bomb bat in the righty swing. Not necessarily comfortable with it, kind of questioning why he rolled up to it today in the batter's box. At this one misses low and inside. 2-1 to Don Jordan.
You know, like we mentioned, there's 2 players on the team who are using the torpedo bat like Don Jordan likes to use, and we are unsure of what happened to his, but he might just not not want to use his teammates just in case he breaks it or something like that, and then his teammate has to go to a bomb bat or something they're less comfortable with.
2-1. Jordan dribbles it in front of home plate and fouled on the third base side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that's completely fair, not wanting to break your teammate's bat, so use the bomb bat instead. But at the same time, he seems very particular about what kind of bat he uses. So for him to not be comfortable with a certain piece of lumber and to go out there in a game and still swing it, kind of ironic. Jordan watches the spinning curveball below the zone. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Don.
I mean, his base hit he had was not hit hard. It was an infield hit, but a base hit nonetheless. And he's getting the job done with this bright pink bomb bat.
Here's the payoff pitch to Jordan. Missing inside for ball 4. A leadoff walk to the Texas Longhorns, ill-advised and can come back to haunt you. Gives ways to Mason Shea, who grounded out to the second baseman Mata last time he was up. Third walk of this game for the San Luis Obispo offense. Only 1 strikeout coming off the the left fielder Brady Alves. But the Blues need to get some base runners on and to cash them in as they trail 1-0 against the Indians. And it looks like Bo Sweeney's day is actually done, making some pretty easy work of San Luis Obispo, shutting them out through 3 innings. That's a new arm for Santa Maria, and we'll introduce you to him right after this on the Slow Blue Streaming Network. New pitcher in for the Santa Maria Indians. It's Nathan Coffey relieving Bo Sweeney of his duties. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, and a strikeout, and a runner at first base in Don Jordan. First pitch swinging is Mason Shea as he weakly pops it up to shallow center. Hall, ranging to his left, makes the grab on the run for the first out of the inning. A pitch and an out for the new noodle in Nathan Coffey from Allen Hancock Community College. He coming in with a .274 earned run average from this past season with the Bulldogs, where he was All-Western State Conference honorable mention in 42 2/3 innings pitched, 36 strikeouts and 15 walks with 13 earned runs. That's solid work for the Allen Hancock Bulldog and Nathan Coffey. So now it's Brady Alves with a runner on first base and 1 gone. Jordan bluffed towards second, now retreats back to the bag. On the strike one looking from Alves, who struck out, who's the only Blue to strike out in tonight's game. Shadows cascading over the right side of the field and on the mound, more importantly. Alves in the sun as the 0-1 is tapped behind home plate. No balls and 2 strikes. Alves from Fallon, Nevada, and a JUCO bandit at Butte Community College. No statistics on his first season, but he batted .462 his sophomore year, or his junior year of high school.
That'll get it done.
Sure will. 0-2 misses high and tight, a ball and 2 strikes. That's not even the best year, his best OPS season when he hit .462. Is this real?
Is this real?
5'12"?
5'12"
His sophomore year on
yeah.
varsity? 1-2. Alves leaves that one outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, when you're a four-year starter in a high school, varsity guy in high school, and you have over 1,000 OPS in your career, you can hit the ball.
Sure can. Looking for a place to call home, though. Butte Community College, a 2-year program, as Alves swings and misses for strike 3. Second time tonight, Brady Alves has struck out, the only Blue to strike out this evening, and there's 2 gone in the 4th.
Chased at that off-speed pitch, and tough. You're the second batter to face the new arm, and Mason Shea went down on one pitch that was just a fastball, so you're still trying to figure out what this new pitcher and Coffey has to offer right there. Shows him the slider and couldn't stay back on it and hit it.
And pick over to first, and Jordan's back in time. Blues trying to get their feet underneath them against the new right-hander Sean Coffey, who just replaced Bo Sweeney earlier this inning. Bo finishing with 3 innings there, allowed no runs and 3 hits. Blues trying to get on the board somehow in the bottom of the 4th. Stripmatter wildly swings and misses for strike 1. Sean flew out to right field last time he was up. A deep fly ball in the right center gap. A nice play by Zepeda. Zepeda leaving that right center gap open again as Coffey steps off the mound to check on Don Jordan, who was shuffling off first base. Cam Andrews stands on deck with his catcher's gear around the shins with 2 outs. 1-0 ball game. The Indians lead the SLO Blues in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Stripmatter on the 0-1. Ducks underneath that fastball for a ball. 84 miles an hour, almost just dosing him right in the ear. Stripmatter, a very productive season at Cuesta as well. And batting .301, a .388 on base percentage in 40 games played. Pretty good sample size, 47 hits and 156 at-bats. 1-1. Stripmatter watches that off-speed, high and tight, 2 balls and a strike. No home runs, no triples, but 9 doubles to go into that .359 slugging. The year prior, in 116 at-bats, a little smaller amount of ABs for Stripmatter, a .509 slugging. Had the same amount of doubles with 9, and 3 triples and a homer as he swings and misses at the slider for strike 2. Deuce is wild to the Scottsdale, Arizona native Sean Stripmatter. He made his way out to the Central Coast following a connection between his dad and a hitting coach in the San Luis Obispo area. 2-2. Stripmatter pops this one up and out of play on the right side. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wind blowing from the right foul pole to the left. Not as aggressively as we've seen on opening weekend. It's died down a little bit, but as the sun sets behind Madonna Mountain, the fog will come in and the air will get a lot thicker. Kate O'Hara likes to say, get your hits while you can. 2-2. Stripmatter watches that one bounce on top of home plate. Garcia keeps it in front, and Jordan stays at first base. Fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes to the right-hander and Sean Stripmatter.
Big opportunity for the Blues. Runner will be going in the full count with 2 outs. Stripmatter could find a gap. John Jordan has pretty good speed for his size and could score a run and tie this game up for the Blues.
3-2, 2 outs. Jordan takes off, and Stripmatter watches that pitch on the outside corner for strike 3. 2 Ks to end the inning, and they strand a runner at first base. San Luis Obispo trails 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians, heading into the 5th inning on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher in for San Luis Obispo. It's Will Paxton replacing Chase Viale. 4 innings of work, a hit, a run. It was not earned, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. The most important stat of that line for Chase Viale, as the first pitch is hit off the hands, popped up behind home plate. Andrews takes off the mask, but he won't get there in time. Strike 1 to Yuli Call, leading off this inning for the Santa Maria Indians.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like you mentioned, no walks. That was a big issue for Viale in his season debut, where he walked 5 batters, and 2 of those batters came in the 2-run third inning for the Dodgers.
So an outing to hang his hat on. 4 innings of work and no walks as Will Paxton comes in, and this pitch is sent straight back for strike 2. 0-2 to Yuli Call, the center fielder, leading it off for Santa Maria this inning. Will Paxton, in his first season with the Peacocks at St. Pete's, a 9.73 earned run average in 10 starts, 53 2/3 innings pitched, as this one's hit hard to the second baseman Strittmatter. Gobbles it up, throws it over to first in time to retire Call for the first out of the 5th inning. 1-0 Santa Maria. They lead the Blues in this frame.
Paxton threw on Monday, just a couple days ago, in relief for Omar Reynoso. Threw 2 innings, walked 1, struck out 1. Faced just 7 batters in his 2 innings of work.
Here's former Blue Hayden Hall digging in the back of the right-handed batter's box as Paxton excessively pumps on the rubber. And the first pitch is a sweeper missing downstairs, a ball and no strikes to Hayden Hall, who grounded into a fielder's choice to end the second inning the last time he was up. Yuli Call was forced out at second base. He reached on an error in that frame. Here's the 1-0. Missing high, 2 balls and no strikes. Hitters count now to Hayden Hall.
85 miles an hour at the top of the zone. It's a pretty good looking pitch up there as a hitter. It's a good job to lay off of it by Hall.
Hitter's pitch on the 2-0. Fastball flared up and into the Blues bullpen, out of play. 2 balls and a strike, 86 miles an hour on the heater from Will Paxton. Hayden Hall had a pretty successful senior year at San Luis Obispo High School, batting just south of 300 at 297. Good sample size, too. 85 plate appearances. Drove in 9 on 7 doubles, no homers, and a triple. Good enough to earn second team All-Sunset League this past season. 2-1, taken for a strike. Fastball right down the middle of the plate. Freezes Hayden Hall on the 2-2 count now. Hayden also played football for the San Luis Obispo Tigers, a middle linebacker. Averaged 6.5 tackles a game. That one up and outside. Paxton wanted the call as he hops around the mound. 3 balls and 2 strikes now.
Tigers made it to playoffs this year and won in the first round, lost in the second round. A good season for them.
Payoff pitch. Hall scoots out of the way for ball 4. 86 miles an hour, scooches Hayden Hall out of the batter's box and over to first base with the walk. First free pass of the day for San Luis Obispo pitching. So now it's Tommy Zepeda. Made a nice play over in right field to retire Mason Shea a couple frames ago, and is the only run to come into score for either ball club today. Was hit by a pitch in the 3rd, and on a 6-4-3 ground out from Josue Garcia, he came in and cashed in the first run. First pitch is swung on and missed at 85 miles an hour off the hand of Will Paxton. Zepeda entering his freshman year of college. Uncertain where he will be attending school, as the 0-2 is swung on and missed. Snapback throw over to first to get the runner Hall is not successful. 0-2 to Zepeda, the Santa Maria native and a graduate of Pioneer Valley High School. Just finished up his year, about to finish up his senior season for the Panthers. He had a 2-run walk-off single in the Central Coast Easter Tournament this season. Swung on and missed for strike 3. 86 miles an hour on the elevated fastball from Will Paxton for the second out of the inning.
973.
So Zepeda chases, and now there's 2 gone in the 5th, and we'll flip it over to the top of the lineup in Jerem Damry. 0 for 2 today with a strikeout swinging and a reach on error in the 3rd, one of the 2 that the Blues have committed this afternoon. Jerem, a graduate of Atascadero High School and now a Cougar at Cuesta College. 206 batting average this season with the Cougars. One extra base hit, it was a double in his 7 hits. Drove in 3 runs as well. Runner on first. Indians lead the Blues 1-0. That pitch ducks below the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Damery is a utility player, batting left-handed, and he fields with his right. Ready for more playing time this next season over at Cuesta College. 2-0. Damery spits on that one inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Ironic, we were talking about how Vialli was having difficulty finding the strike zone. That's been passed over to Will Paxton, who just issued a walk and did get the strikeout against Zepeda, but with 2 gone, having trouble locating it against Jerem Damery. Damery, a 3-sport athlete in high school as well. A great special teams player, so I've been told. 3 blocked field goals in the playoffs 2 years ago with the Greyhounds, as the 3-0 is on the outside corner for a strike. 2 in a game. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Special teams heavily underrated part of football. You know, when you win or lose games in special teams, that's 9 points that Damery was able to keep off the board.
That's right. Here's the 3-1. Damery with a high bouncing ball to the second baseman Strittmatter, who throws it over to the pitcher Paxton, who did a nice job covering the bag for the final out of the inning. So some nice defense to cap off the 5th. The Blues still trail 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians. We're halfway home at Sinsheimer on the SLO Blues streaming network.
The Blues, number 28.
9-1-2 due up for San Luis Obispo. Halfway through at Sinsheimer Stadium, the Blues trail 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians. Weekend following the opening weekend for San Luis Obispo, entering this game with their 3-1 record and trying to escape an L from Santa Maria, who they owned last season, as the first pitch misses inside to Cam Andrews for a ball. Matter of fact, 10 years ago tonight marks the day that the Blues beat the Indians 22-0. That game was actually called off in the 7th inning due to a mercy rule. And now here they are trailing 1-0 against that same team in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And Cam Andrews, who is 0 for 1 today, sits in a 2-0 count against Nathan Coffey, the right-hander from Allen Hancock. He ducks out of the way of a curveball that almost hits him in the head. 3 balls and no strikes. Andrews on a 2-week contract with San Luis Obispo, trying to make it count after his season with the San Francisco State Gators didn't go as he planned. That one's taken for a strike on the outer half, 3 balls and a strike. Program going under as the university underwent some budget cuts with their athletics. And honestly, the Gators are lucky to get by with just getting rid of baseball, because a team within their conference, the Sonoma State Seawolves, got rid of all athletics. as that pitch is in there for a strike, filling it up at 3-2 to Andrews. So now Andrews looking for a new place to call home, entering his redshirt junior season. Native from Duarte, California. Here's the payoff pitch. Andrews spits on that one outside for ball 4. Leadoff walk for the San Luis Obispo Blues, and the go-ahead run, and E.J. Royal stands in at the plate. E.J. 0 for 2 today, flew out to right field to Cepeda, who made a spectacular diving catch towards the right field line, and then grounded out to the third baseman Damry in the 3rd inning. Royal, who had a video game-like start to last season, not quite on the same pace. Hard to have those expectations. You start off last season getting a hit 50% of the time. You're going to expect to have that production now. Not quite how baseball works, as he takes a look at the first pitch for a strike.
Still not having a bad start to the summer in his couple of games with the Blues. 3 hits, a couple of walks, a couple of RBIs, a couple of hard hit balls like we saw in the first inning.
0-2 is fouled behind home plate, no balls and 2 strikes. And Royal really had a rough go in his second season with the Bison at Utah Tech, batting south of 200, starting in 34 games, the same amount as he did his junior season in 2024. Drastically different results, hitting in the mid-200s in the batting average category. More extra base hits for EJ too, as that one misses inside, a ball and 2 strikes. And he was telling us to begin the year, you know, he kind of got domed up over there at Utah Tech. A little bit too much pressure on himself, trying to lift the ball too much and hit it out of the yard. You're playing in elevation there. All your teammates are doing that, and that's just not who he is as a hitter. As the 1-2 is hit on the ground to the shortstop Hall, over to second, and they get the out there. They don't even throw it over to first, so a fielder's choice. E.J. Royal reaches on as Cam Andrews is forced out at second.
Not EJ's best at bat, but you trade a little bit of speed over at first base. E.J. Royal has stolen just 1 bag so far this summer, but we saw him last year rack it up on the base pass with his 19 stolen bases.
And he has 9 career stolen bases with the Bison at Utah Tech. EJ now in the transfer portal, though. As the clock ticks closer and closer to June, he will be enlisting his name as the portal opens up. As Cade O'Hara watches the curveball outside for a ball. O'Hara, another name in the transfer portal as well, after a couple seasons at the University of Texas. Looking to commit to another 4-year school as a two-way player. 1-0. O'Hara watches that one bounce on top of home plate. Thought about throwing it back to first to get Royal. No throw. And 2 balls and no strikes to O'Hara, who has walked twice today, although in the first he was caught stealing from Josue Garcia. He's got a cannon back there. Talked about how he was a stud earlier in this game, and he proved it on that play. O'Hara watches that pitch in the other batter's box. 3 balls and no strikes. And Cade had a rough go his first season in San Luis Obispo 2 years ago. 196 average and a 469 OPS, but kind of struck gold when Dean Traynor started putting him on the mound. 3-0. O'Hara watches that one down the middle for a strike. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 walks, or 3 strikeouts and a walk for the Dana Point, California native. He started hitting on that point a little bit more at Texas. He's fallen in love with the position. Here's 3-1. Royal takes off towards second, but it won't matter. It's a walk for Cade O'Hara. 5th walk of the night for San Luis Obispo's offense, and there's 2 runners on with 1 out in the 5th.
O'Hara's just being patient up there today. His 3rd straight walk, just trying to help his team create some runs and get a win today. And you know, Blues have not been able to scratch one across yet, but with Comerford and Gavin Smith coming up, who both have hits in today's game, you never know what the Blues could do here with a lot of speed out on the base pass now. Mike
Tackett, the pitching coach for Santa Maria, out there to talk with his right-hander in Nathan Coffey. This inning has not necessarily gone his way in terms of command. 2 walks in this frame. He did get bailed out on the fielder's choice from E.J. Royal, but now the 3rd walk of the night to Cade O'Hara has got the Indians in some hot water as the go-ahead run is over at first base. Here's Brendan Comerford, the reigning SLO Blues Player of the Week from opening weekend. Knows a thing or two about driving in some runs. He drove in quite a bit this past season at Lona College to the tune of 62. That's good enough to get him a commitment to Gonzaga University to play some Division I baseball. Curveball trickles into the zone for strike one. Second team South Coast Conference selection following that season. I mean, what more do you have to do if you're Brendan Comerford? A 7.12 slugging and a 3.56 average. That conference had to have been on steroids. 0-2, a big swing and a miss here.
Third straight at bat that Comerford has fallen behind 0-2, was able to get a base hit in his last at bat, but you never want to fall behind and get in a hole this deep. It's just hard to recover from.
Two-strike approach now with runners on first and second. The Blues trail 1-0 against the Indians in the bottom half of the fifth. Here's the 0-2, and Comerford watches that pitch inside. The throw down to third is not in time. E.J. Royal has just stolen third base, and there's runners at the corners.
You can tell that was not a design steal because O'Hara did not follow behind him. E.J. able to swipe third base. We mentioned the speed that he had last season, and he's showing it off right there. He gets 90 feet closer to scoring for Gavin Smith.
So they get one half of the strike him out, throw him out. Brendan Comerford strikes out, the fourth strikeout of the night for the Blues offense. And now it's Gavin Smith with the tying run 90 feet away for San Luis Obispo. Two gone in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Runners at first and third, and the first pitch to Smith missing low and outside for a ball. Garcia doing a nice job keeping it at front. He knows that runner in EJ is awfully close, and he has some excellent speed to cash in that tying run. Smith today, a single and a fly out to right field in Zepeda. He's getting a lot of work out there at right field. A peek at first as the shadows cascade more and more at Sinsheimer Stadium. Here's the 1-0. Smith spits on that one outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Gavin, one of the most prolific offensive players in Arizona high school history. Offensive Player of the Year in 2023 and 24, and was the Offensive Player of the Year his junior and senior year in the Arizona 6A Premier Region section. Smith watches another pitch outside, 3 balls and no strikes.
And we've seen it early in the season from him. He has been smashing the ball all over the ballpark. A very small sample size with only 14 plate appearances, but an 8.18 slugging thus far.
A lot of that weighted by that home run he had on opening day. As they pick back over to first, O'Hara slides in time. Still 3-0 to Gavin Smith.
Yeah, 3 hits early in this summer, 2 of them for extra bases. You mentioned that 3-run home run he had on opening day, and then a 1 RBI double that he had on Memorial Day.
3-0, tough pitch, called a strike.
The Blues only have 3 extra base hits total thus far through the summer, and he holds 2 of them.
It just speaks to the kind of struggles that they've had on offense in terms of barreling up baseballs. 3-1, big swing and a miss for strike 2. They're chipping away runs, the Blues are. They're kind of just low exit velocity base hits, kind of balls that trickle through the infield, little bloopers that bleed into shallow parts of the outfield. Smith looking to punish one here. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The Blues strand 2 on the strikeout from Gavin Smith. They still trail 1-0 against the Indians, heading to the 6th inning on the SLO Blues streaming network. Will Paxton back in action in the top half of the sixth inning. The Blues trail the Santa Maria Indians 1-0 on this Friday night in Sinsheimer Stadium. Leading it off for the Indians, it's Josue Garcia. He's followed by Cesar Garcia, no relation, and then Chris Johnson, who's in the hole. Right on left matchup, the first time Josue is facing the righty Will Paxton this afternoon. The lights slowly coming on at Sinsheimer Stadium as the sun sets behind Madonna Mountain north of the field, as the first pitch to Garcia is taken for a strike. Josue is a former San Luis Obispo Blue and a current stud at Allen Hancock Community College. 4.11 batting average this season, gets on base half the time, and slugs .528. 0-1. Garcia watches that one bounce on top of home plate, a ball and a strike. And back in high school, he was a 3-time All-Area selection. He was All-League and the Central Coast All-Area MVP at one point in high school. The native of Santa Maria, California, and as a catcher, has a 1.7 pop time, 1-1. Garcia hits it in the air to left field. Chasing it is Royal, and he won't get there. Garcia splits the gap as he rounds first and heads into second base with a sliding double to begin things in the sixth.
Really good piece of hitting by Garcia to just lace that ball the other way into the gap, get himself in scoring position as the Indians look to expand their lead.
So Garcia with some nice opposite field hitting gets things going for the Indians in the sixth. And now it's Cesar Garcia, an 0-for-2 night today. Grounder to the shortstop O'Hara and an unassisted putout from Comerford over at first. Now some insurance run over at second base as Garcia digs in against Paxton. 2 looks at second base. Now Paxton comes home, and this one's driven in the air to center field. Straight up for Royal, who backpedals and makes the grab as Garcia retreats back to the bag at second base. 1 out here in the top of the sixth inning following the Cesar Garcia fly ball.
A good bounce back to get the out after the leadoff double. Keep that runner right where he is, not let him move over to third with 1 out or no outs. And be in sac fly range.
Here's Chris Johnson, the big right-hander from Cuesta College, who a few days ago was donning the blue pinstripes. Now in the red tops for Santa Maria. Got a runner at second base and an 0-for-2 day for the Cuesta first baseman. Didn't play his first season with the Cougars, utilized a redshirt year. As the first pitch slider misses in the other batter's box, a ball and no strikes. Graduate of San Luis Obispo High School, where he earned second-team Mountain League honors his senior season. A .426 average with just 5 extra base hits. All of them were doubles. Peak at second base. Now Paxton comes home. 1-0 is sent right back in the netting behind home plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to Johnson. Indians offense has only walked once this evening, and they've struck out 4 times. Anchored by Vialli, who had a pretty nice outing. Only blip was a hit by pitch in the third to Tommy Cepeda, and eventually came around to score. That's the difference in this ball game, 1-0 over the Blues, as this one spoiled off the hands and into the Blues bullpen for strike 2 against Johnson. Chris batting cleanup today for Santa Maria, trying to do his job with a runner on second base and a 1-2 count against Will Paxton. Paxton, as we said, a peacock from St. Pete's. He struck out 35 this past season and walked 37. Two looks at second, now comes home. 1-2, swung on and miss. Paxton climbs the ladder. He gets the K against Johnson for the second time tonight. And Johnson going off the elevated fastball. He struck out looking the second time he was up. Now he goes down swinging here. 2 quick outs following the leadoff double from Josue Garcia. That gives way to Abel Mata, the second baseman, batting 5th today for Santa Maria.
Exactly what you need if you're Paxton out there. Just get that quick fly ball, quick strikeout, and see if you can get out of this inning with the lead just at 1 still.
Mata watches the first offering outside, a ball and no strikes. Played his first college season at College of Redwoods this past year. Sort of struggled in his 16 games played, 4 hits and 30 at-bats. 9 strikeouts to his 1 walk. Trying to right the ship here, playing for Santa Maria this summer. As Will Paxton steps off the rubber, trying to get on the same page as Andrews. Still 1-0 to Abel Mata. Indians up 1-0 over San Luis Obispo in the top half of the 6th inning in a quickly moving ball game. Double take at second. Now the 1-0 is swung on and missed for strike one.
I love what the Blues pitchers are doing today. They're just pounding the strike zone. Only one walk to this point to their 5 strikeouts, and just making sure that the Santa Maria Indians are going to have to work to score their runs.
From the stretch, Paxton comes set, now delivers. 1-1 is sent straight back and off the catcher's mitt of Andrews, a ball and 2 strikes. The Blues have a right-hander working in the bullpen right now, Scott Ballman, a senior from West Ranch High School. 6 foot, 195-pound native of Stevenston Ranch, California, getting loose for San Luis Obispo. 1-2 count against Abel Mata with a runner at second. 2 gone in the top of the 6th inning. Indians lead 1-0 over the Blues. 5 hits between these two teams, separated by 2 errors. This one softly hit to the third baseman Smith, who fields it in foul territory and ends the inning. So they strand a runner at second, the Jose Garcia double, and it's still a 1-0 ball game heading to the home half of this frame on the SLO Blues streaming network. Home half of the 6th inning is brought to you by the talented team at Studio Design Group Architects. Whether you're designing, planning, or needing permits for a new space, Studio Design Group and their collaborative philosophy have you covered. Visit sdgarchitects.com to learn more. New pitcher on the mound for the Santa Maria Indians. It's Manny Ramirez, no relation, as Don Jordan digs in for the San Luis Obispo Blues and is the recipient of ball 1. Now, Ramirez, not the Boston Red Sox silver slugger that we know, but rather a pitcher from Pioneer Valley with a .284 earned run average his senior season with the Panthers, as Don Jordan watches the second pitch outside, 2-0 to the Texas Longhorns. Jordan. He started in 12 games, and those were all of his appearances. Pitched 1 complete shutout as he smokes this one to left field for a base hit. Leadoff single, 100 miles an hour off the bat for Don Jordan. There's that hard hit we've been waiting for. That kicks things off in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
And Don Jordan, we've mentioned this both at bats. He had told us he doesn't like the bomb bat, but I mean, a 100-mile-an-hour single might say different.
2 hits with it today.
Yeah. I mean, he said that those torpedo bats are coming in tomorrow. Maybe cancel that shit.
Cancel it.
Use the pink bomb tomorrow. See if it still works.
First pitch to Mason Shea. Misses outside, ball 1.
Yeah, when I saw Manny Ramirez in the lineup, I was like, oh, I mean, this guy, 20 12-time All-Star, right? You got to be starting. Nope, coming out of the bullpen.
1-0. Shea watches that one skip outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Mason Shea today is 0-2. Grounded to second baseman Mata and a pop out to the shortstop Hayden Hall. And Mason looking for a new 4-year university. 2 years of community college ball at Mesa out in Arizona. A career .296 hitter for the Thunderbirds. On base of 429 as Jordan takes off towards second base. The throw is not in time. Stolen bag for Don Jordan puts the tying run in scoring position.
Good jump by Don Jordan. He flew off of his lead at first base and really made it a close play because Garcia's a good athlete back there, but Jordan had that bag stolen all the way.
So a good jump from Don Jordan makes Mason Shea's job a little easier with no outs and a 3-0 count. Shuffling off second, and Shea swings on the 3-0 pitch. He bloops it into shallow right. Zepeda makes the running grab, and Jordan retreats back towards the bag. 1 out in the 6th.
Swinging 3-0, Shea got a pitch that he liked, but was just unable to put a good barrel on it and popped it up to the right fielder. Keeps Jordan at his location. I was kind of surprised Don Jordan didn't go on that pitch too.
Yeah.
3-0 count, and his secondary had him about halfway to third base.
Yeah, he was, like you said, halfway towards third. He should have just taken off at that point.
Yeah. I think, he could have probably walked the rest of the way and had that bag stolen. He was just so far off second. There's no hold at all, so he has a 5-step lead.
Here's Brady Alves with a runner at second. They try to backpick him at second base. The throw in time, but the tag not applied. Excellent slide from Don Jordan.
Yeah, he slid and stood up about 6 inches to maybe a foot before the bag and then just avoided the tag and then whoop, snuck his left foot in there.
That was impressive. That takes a lot of athleticism there. Here's the 1-0 Brady Alves. He swings and skies it to right field. Zepeda, who's getting a lot of work out there, makes the catch. Jordan tags from second. The throw is relayed to third. It's not in time. So a productive out for Brady Alves puts the tying run 90 feet away for Sean Strittmatter.
You mentioned earlier, Zapata out there is getting a ton of work. Back-to-back fly balls to him there. He had a fly ball in the first inning, a fly ball in the third, a fly ball in the second. He's touched the ball out there almost every inning.
So it's Strittmatter now, who drove in 26 runs this past season for Cuesta College. Looking for his first RBI this year with San Luis Obispo. 50 total RBIs in his 2 seasons at community college. The chance here with Jordan at third. Strittmatter watches that first pitch in the dirt for ball 1.
The Blues still trail it, so if they could get Jordan home from third and tie this game up, that would be a big momentum shift for the Blues, who just really struggled to do anything so far with runners in scoring position.
1-0, and Strittmatter watches that one high and tight for ball 2. Hitters count to the Scottsdale, Arizona native, entering his junior season of college. Uncommitted infielder from Cuesta. 2-0. Strittmatter watches that one inside. 3 balls and no strikes. And you got to think if Josue Garcia frames that a little better, that might be called a strike.
Yeah, you never know. The Blues are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position thus far, including 2 strikeouts.
3-0, he takes all the way and watches it for a strike.
3 consecutive outs with runners in scoring position in the first, a fly ball to end the inning with a runner in scoring position in the third, and then 2 consecutive strikeouts in the 5th.
3-1, swung on and missed on the changeup on the outer half. So now tough with 2 is Sean Strittmatter after being in a 3-0 count. 2 outs and a runner at third. Blues trail 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians. Sean Strittmatter up in a 3-2 count. Here's the pitch. Strittmatter goes down swinging, and the Blues are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position tonight. It's still 1-0 Santa Maria heading into the 7th inning from Sinsheimer on the SLO Blues streaming network. New pitcher in for San Luis Obispo. It's the right-hander and former San Francisco State Gator, Scott Bauman, coming into this season with San Luis Obispo after a year where he had a 5.52 earned run average, made 14 appearances, 14 2/3 innings pitched, so primarily a reliever for the Gators. 11 strikeouts to his 8 walks in those 14 2/3 innings pitched, and he relieves Will Paxton of his duties. 2 innings there, allowed a hit, a walk, and 2 strikeouts as the Blues still trail the Santa Maria Indians 1-0. We're in the top half of the 7th inning at Sinsheimer Stadium as the Shadows have essentially engulfed the entire field in darkness. Some pockets of sunshine for E.J. Royal and Brady Alves to deal with out in left field. But either way, a meeting at the mound between Andrews and Bauman as they get on the same page. Those are a couple of guys that are rather familiar with each other. They're both in the portal after the program at San Francisco State went under. They're looking for a new place to call home, and for now, they're rekindling an old connection from this past season at San Francisco State. So here's Bauman from the windup. He faces 6-7-8 for Santa Maria. Johnny DeBrum leads it off in this frame. First pitch is in there for a strike, 89 miles an hour on the outside corner from Bauman. A rising junior right-hander and a JUCO bandit from San Joaquin Delta College. From the windup, here's the 0-1. This one hit in the air to center field. Royal giving chase, and he makes the running grab for the first out of the 7th inning.
A very well hit ball, but just right on the line, right to EJ. 84 miles an hour. It's not too bad from DeBrum, but I mentioned just right to EJ.
So now it's Yuli Call, who's 0 for 2 today. Reached on error in the 2nd and grounded out to the second baseman Strittmatter in the 5th inning. And Call, an outfielder from Atascadero, up the road here from Sinsheimer Stadium, as the first pitch misses outside for a ball. Graduate of Atascadero High School and going to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo as a student, but for what I could assume will be a walk-on opportunity with Larry Lee and his Mustangs. Here's the 1-0. Big swing and a miss on the fastball in the outer half for a strike. A funky leg kick, too, from Yuli Call. I haven't seen too many looks like that, how he kind of kicks the leg on top of home plate. We saw his closed stance in batting practice, too. It is certainly eye-catching. That pitch misses outside, 2 balls and a strike.
It's just not something you see that often, and when you do, it's usually very subtly closed, but Uli is very closed. I mean, that front left foot is, almost, the toe of his right foot matches up with the heel on the left foot. So,
yeah.
It's about a foot longer.
2-1 is fouled off at home plate. Home plate umpire seems to be okay. Lost some protective gear at a 91-mile-an-hour pitch from Scott Bauman. Some electrifying stuff. We've seen the sinker, we've seen the sweeper so far, and the fastball with the high velocity. Kind of a funky guy to deal with as the home plate umpire tries to regroup off of that foul tip. Dean Traynor going out to talk and make sure he's okay.
And it's 91 miles an hour is kind of what he's sitting on, both that sinker and that fastball. But it looks like it's coming at you faster because of how quick his release is. It's very, very straight to the point, and it can speed up hitters sometimes and make it hard for them to really pick up the pitch easily.
Home plate umpire still trying to regroup himself as he stands on the Blues side of home plate. Pitcher Bauman and the catcher Andrews just kind of observing what's happening. Home plate umpire messing with something on his leg, perhaps, or protective padding.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it looked like he had some sort of padding or something on his face mask where he got hit, and so maybe he's just trying to get that piece reconnected. I think it was the chin guard that fell off,
yes.
So I think he was trying to get that reconnected. And it looks like he's done so.
So Dean Traynor retreats back towards the dugout. Everyone fist bumps, and Yuli Call is ready to get going on the 2-2 count. Bases empty for the Santa Maria Indians. 1 gone in the top of the 7th. They lead the Blues 1-0, and what has been a very soft contact game. That's the big theme. Both teams hitting for soft contact, except for that Don Jordan 100-mile-an-hour single. Finally ran into one this summer. Here's the 2-2 to Yuli Call from the windup of Bauman. Pitch is swung on and spoiled in the back of the net. We'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Yuli certainly has the resume for Larry Lee if he's trying to walk on at Cal Poly. First team All-Sunset League his senior season. 378 batting average, and 6 extra base hits, 4 doubles, and 2 triples. Here's a 2-2. Fastball taken on the outside corner, strike 3. Scott Bauman sits down Yuli Call for the second out of the 7th inning.
Just too close to take if you're Call. That pitch might have missed, but in a 2-strike count, you got to just protect there. And that pitch, if it did miss, it did not miss by much. So Call just has to be a little more aggressive in that situation to avoid striking out looking like he did.
That pitch was paint from Scott Bauman as well. Here's the first pitch to Hayden Hall, the former Blue. As a sweeper misses low, a ball, no strikes.
It was a really good pitch because, I talk a lot about tunneling. He didn't work the same tunnel as the pitch before, but he went with a slider up and in that started at Call's shoulder and just missed the strike zone. And then you go with a fastball in the outer part of the plate. Call might have just thought it was a slider again that was just going to keep tailing away from the plate.
Jordan with a nice jump running towards this pop fly into foul ground. He can't quite get there. Strike 1 to Hayden Hall. 1-1 count now. Did you see how Jordan accelerated towards that ball? Yeah, my goodness.
He's quick. A little bit of a slow start for him, but then once he gets a couple of steps going, he moves.
Yeah.
Especially, he's not the smallest guy at 230, 6 foot.
First hit of the summer, he beat out an infield single.
Yeah, he moves.
Here's the 1-1, and Hall with a half swing spins it into the Blues dugout for strike 2. Bauman is just consistently hitting at that 91 spot.
Yeah, with both the sinker and the fastball, so it's really hard for the hitters to pick up whether it's going to have that downward and a little bit in movement or whether it's just going to be flat and maybe tail, have some arm side run to it. It's just really hard to pick up. The movements are so similar but also so different and so hard to pick up. And when they're at the same velocity, there's really no differentiating between the two pitches as a hitter.
Here's a 1-2, and a fastball misses high. Tried to get Hall to chase, but just missed his spot. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hayden Hall, who's also an academic weapon. 3 trimesters of honors algebra 2 and 2 trimesters of honors geometry. I was telling Ryan, I cried in honors algebra 2, legitimately. Here's a 2-2. Slider missing outside, fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I was a little bit of a math nerd as well, not to that extent in high school. But so the way my high school did it is we had math 1, 2, 3, and then calculus.
Okay.
So 3 was like pre-algebra.
Yeah.
So I took my junior year, I took our first level of calculus, which was called Calc AB, and stats.
Okay, we had that as well.
Yeah. And then my senior year, there were only like 5 kids.
Payoff pitch taken on the outer half for strike 3. 89 miles an hour rings up Hayden Hall to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for the Indians as we stretch here at Sinsheimer. 1-0 Santa Maria on the SLO Blues streaming network. Bottom of the 7th here at Sinsheimer Stadium. And fans, it's time to throw down for a hoedown at Sinsheimer on June 19th. Show up to the ballpark for the Blues game against the Arroyo Seco Saints in Western-themed attire for 50% off your ticket. Giddy up to Western Night on June 19th. Now batting for San Luis Obispo, it's Cam Andrews, 0 for 1 today, with a walk in the 5th inning. First pitch to him is cued off the bat to the second baseman, Mata. Gobbles it up and throws it over to first in time to retire the former San Francisco State Gator for the first out of the 7th inning.
Second time that Cam Andrews has just been out in front of it and knuckled it off the end of his bat for a ground out to the second baseman.
I was going to say, that did look awfully familiar, the way it was kind of legitimately off the end of his bat.
And those can be some of the hardest balls to field as a fielder, even though it's slow and you're charging it. It is not an easy ball to field because of the spin on it.
Here's E.J. Royal looking for his first hit of the evening as he takes a look at ball 1 from Manny Ramirez, who returns for his second inning of work. 1-0 to the former Bison of Utah Tech, who will enter the transfer portal once it opens in June. 1-0 down the heart of the plate for a strike. EJ today, a fly out to right, a grounder to the third baseman, Damry, and reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. He stole third there. From the windup, here's Ramirez against Royal. And the 1-0 is a sweeper missing outside. 2 balls and a strike. Close call there for EJ, but it comes up as a ball on the scoreboard. 6 hits between these two teams in a 1-0 game in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Blues trailing the Santa Maria Indians. 2-1, right back up the middle off the glove of the pitcher Ramirez. The second baseman Mata from the outfield can't make the throw. A base hit for E.J. Royal. Puts on a base runner in the bottom half of the 1st with 1 gone.
Pretty well hit ball back up the middle for E.J. It just kind of died up in that infield grass. And he is able to reach on an infield single using his speed.
So now it's Cade O'Hara, who has a trio of walks this evening. Was caught stealing the first time he was awarded first base. Now a pick over to first, and EJ is back in time. And Cade, the shortstop, a former Longhorn from the University of Texas. In talks with some Division I programs as he redshirted this past season with the Longhorns. First pitch to him misses high and inside, a ball, no strikes.
Yeah, any program would be lucky to have Cade. He can do it from both sides. I mean, we've seen it at the plate today. He hasn't recorded a hit, but he hasn't had to. He's 3 for 3 on walks.
1-0 is skied in foul territory. The first baseman, Garcia, giving chase, and he can't make the grab. Looks like Cesar Garcia might have lost it in the lights or in the twilight sky. Either way, a new life for Cade O'Hara and a 1-1 count. O'Hara with another chance. 1 ball and 1 strike. Josue and Cesar Garcia were trying to communicate on that ball, but as I've talked about so many times before, that twilight sky slowly coming into effect.
It's also just such a hard ball to catch. You're running full speed in foul territory, and Garcia's a first baseman, so he's not usually a guy who catches a lot of fly balls running full speed.
1-1 misses high and outside. 2-1 to Cade O'Hara now.
And that's also not something you practice all that often as a first baseman, chasing balls down in foul territory. That's something you only really get to do in game situations.
Here's a 2-1, and a sweeper is called a strike. O'Hara didn't like that call, and frankly, I can't blame him.
Surprised we haven't seen Royal take off for second yet, considering he stole third the last time he reached base with the same pitcher-catcher duo.
2-2, slide step, and O'Hara sends it high in the air to center field. Call looking for it, now races in. He couldn't see it at first. It plops right in front of the center fielder. Cade motions a little pitching wedge motion to the dugout of San Luis Obispo. And hey, it's a line drive in the scorebook, a single for Cade O'Hara.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk to him about that one tomorrow. That's going to be the easiest hit he's going to record all summer long. I mean, he didn't let go of his bat until he's halfway down the baseline because he was so upset with himself that he got underneath that ball, an easy ball that he knows that he can rip.
Yeah, it might be hard to see out there. Call took a couple steps back on that ball and then had to race in to get the blooping base hit from Cade O'Hara. So now it's Brendan Comerford and what is now a 1-0 count against Manny Ramirez. The Indians do have a right-hander getting loose in their bullpen, though. Runners on first and second. Here's the 1-0, and Comerford dribbles it to the right side. The first baseman, Garcia, flips it over to the pitcher, Ramirez, in time to retire Comerford, but each runner moves up another station. Runners on second and third for Gavin Smith with 2 gone.
A very productive out, but now Gavin Smith has to get it done for the Blues. He is second on the Blues in RBIs so far this summer. Again, very, very early, but he has 5, trailing Comerford, who has 8. They're actually the only 2 on the team who have more than 3 so far this summer.
He's driven in 5 this past spring with Harvard, and he gets hit by a pitch. First pitch that Gavin Smith sees from Manny Ramirez goes off his elbow. And now it's Don Jordan who just squared up a baseball in the triple digits his last at-bat.
He's still got that ping bomb bat up there. We've talked about it so much, how that's not his normal bat, but he is using it. So he's using it today while he waits for his bomb bats to get in, and it's been working for him.
And it looks like we might have a new pitcher here for Santa Maria as Matt Molina makes the decision and retrieves his right-hander Ramirez. Call to the bullpen for the Indians as Don Jordan steps up with the bases loaded and 2 outs on the Slow Blue Streaming Network. Jonah Lopez is the new pitcher in the bottom half of the 7th inning. He'll face Don Jordan with the bases loaded and 2 gone. A big scoring opportunity for San Luis Obispo here, trailing 1-0 against the Santa Maria Indians. Last time Don Jordan was up, he smoked a 100-mile-an-hour single off Manny Ramirez, who finished his inning in 2/3 outing with 3 hits, no walks, and a strikeout. First pitch to Don Jordan is a 65-mile-an-hour offering, missing in the dirt for ball 1. All the runners on base are under Manny Ramirez's responsibility. 1-0. Jordan scoots out of the way of that offering inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Lopez, not a lot of pitching reps his senior season or his junior season at Pioneer Valley. Just pitching in 2 innings as Jordan sends it right back up the middle for a base hit. E.J. Royal trots in to score. Cade O'Hara racing behind him, and the Blues take the lead. Don Jordan finds his swagger. It's 2-0 San Luis Obispo in the 7th.
This is exactly the type of game that Don Jordan needed. A 3-hit game as all the fans start cycling over to Beer 1 to get their $3 Miller Lights and $4 wines.
Timely hitting when the Blues needed it the most. They had been struggling pretty severely this evening with runners in scoring position. And a game against the Santa Maria Indians, runs typically aren't at a premium, but tonight that's been the case. A 2-1 ball game as Jake Hicksenbach comes in to replace Mason Shea. So Shea DH today, and his day is over after going 0 for 3 with a couple of pop-outs and a ground out to the second baseman Mata. But nice hitting again from Don Jordan. 3-hit day, as you said, drove in 2 just now to put the Blues ahead. So here's Hicksenbach coming off the bench. A left-handed hitter with runners on first and second in what is now a 2-1 ball game. Here's the pitch. This pitch is on the outer half for a strike. And just like that, a left-hander is moving around in the Santa Maria bullpen. 0-1. Hicksenbach watches the fastball in the same spot for a strike. 0-2 to Hicksy, the uncommitted rising junior from Monterey Peninsula. Teammates with Johnny DeBrum, who's playing left field for Santa Maria right now. 0-2. Hicksenbach watches that one inside. The catcher Garcia is on top of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blues up 2-1 over the Santa Maria Indians in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 2 gone with runners on first and second. 1-2. Hicksenbach watches that one outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And it looks like Brady Alves' day might be over as well. And a pinch hitter standing on deck for the Blues. 2-2. Hicksenbach swings and fouls it off into the awning on the third base side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Uncertain who that pinch hitter is in the on-deck circle for San Luis Obispo. Number is not listed on our rosters provided to us. We'll get you that information as soon as we can. With 2 gone, runners on first and second. They pick back over to second base, and the ball gets into center field. Gavin Smith will take the 390 over to third, and Jordan will follow right behind him. Off the errant pickoff move, the first error of the night for Santa Maria. 2 runners in scoring position now for the Blues.
You'll take that all day, any day. We talked about John Jordan's speed a couple of times today, and a base hit will now score him from second.
Gavin Smith at third, Don Jordan at second. The 2-2 bounces outside, fills it up at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Good block by Garcia. He's done a really good job behind the plate today, and we knew that he's a good defender. We saw it last summer. We saw, his numbers this year as well. He does it all behind the plate.
Payoff pitch. Hicksenbach watches that one downstairs for ball 4. A 2-out walk will fill the bases for a new pitch hitter for San Luis Obispo.
Bases loaded, a pinch hitter coming in for Brady Alves. Now batting number 39, Mason Ashlock.
And it looks like it'll be Mason Ashlock pinch hitting for Brady Alves. So Alves, a frustrating night at the plate. 2 strikeouts and a fly ball out to Zepeda in right field. Now it's Ashlock, who is uncommitted and a rising junior, a native of Dripping Springs, Texas. Big opportunity here for him in his Blues debut with the bases loaded and 2 outs. He almost gets hit by a fastball here, high and tight, ball and no strikes.
Good morning to you. First pitch you ever see as a Blue, almost clips the face.
1-0. And Ashlock pops this one high on top of home plate. The catcher Garcia, with no mask, makes the grab. But not before the Blues take the lead on a Donovan Jordan single right back up the middle. 2-1 San Luis Obispo, heading to the 8th on the SLO Blue Streaming Network.